These are my RX2 settings. Tune vehicle, load, R. Alignment, brakes, differential, gearing, damping, springs. So these spring settings are specific to this car because the car performs like a mid-engine car. It says the car is front-engined, and I think it's supposed to be, but the lift off, the throttle lift oversteer is ridiculous. So I have a really stiff front spring rate and a really stiff front anti-roll bar and a really soft rear anti-roll bar and a really soft spring rate in the rear. I should adjust these. This is kind of my default natural settings for ride height, just for a centimeter of brake. It's not really that big of a deal. The cars don't go that fast, but I like to do that. Anyway, I will show you what I mean by the lift off oversteer with this car. I'm going to save these settings now. Rename it. Alright. And now I'm going to start time trial. I have the wrong button. There we go, this button. Options, game settings, manual sequential. Apply. Continue. Alright, here we go. The gearing is nice and short, but if you notice, especially here, when I lift off throttle, it just rotates in, and the stiff suspension is what prevents it from just completely turning around. And just like the Rallycross Supercars, it seems like there are tender springs. It's just that they're not adjustable. But after making these adjustments, the car becomes much more controllable. The off throttle oversteer is, yeah, just as that. That's off throttle oversteer. But when I'm not trying to make it slide, it is still a little bit twitchy like that on the brakes. But it is largely controllable. Trail braking is really difficult in this car. You have to be real delicate with the brakes. So this is how it performs. It's more of a gripper. It will slide, but with this much horsepower, it's 310 horsepower or something, you don't want to be sliding very much anyway, because you just lose a bunch of RPM to wheel spin, or bog the engine down due to lack of torque. I mean, really, the supercars are the way they are with 600 horsepower because they need it in order to maintain the slides. With four-wheel drive at speed, you need a lot of torque at the wheels. Whoa, I'm not driving very smooth. The off-throttle oversteers, I'm still getting used to it after having driven the supercars lately. But it's quite controllable. I mean, it's the most controllable I want it to be. I don't want it to understeer any more than it does, which it is capable of tuning in more understeer, but with the wheel it's not necessary. So if you're driving smooth, you can just enter that turn pretty, not full throttle, but let me try to get a good lap in. This is third gear. want to turn in early here. Whoa. Be smooth on the trail braking. Okay, let's get a good lap in. There's a slight lift. Back on throttle. Full throttle, I think. Yeah, full throttle. The car is struggling for power through that turn. Third gear. Coast on the throttle through the apex. And to smash it. Down to fifth. Give it full throttle. Third gear through these turns. And that's a lap. The camber angles are subject to adjustment, I guess you could say. They're not exactly perfect. I just selected some random ones, random angles. Not necessarily random, but based off of previous knowledge. And the alignment and camber angles are set to 2 degrees. Technically, on the pavement, it could probably be a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. I'm not really sure. I didn't really do any real testing to see how much more grip I can gain from having different camber angles. Which these are mostly set up for asphalt, and then the dirt is just dirt. I don't know how much more performance you can gain from having less. Around 60 degrees negative camber is good for off-road. That's due to, I think it's due to what is it called, G-loading and tire flex. I don't know if this game actually simulates tire cutting into the dirt, and use the edge of the tire the outer edge of the tire to cut into the dirt and to give you more grip. Which is why rally cars run relatively low negative camber angles in the dirt. But where you get a phrase that it's commonly spread around the racing world is, it's faster to go faster in the fast sections than it is to go faster in the slow sections. And so the pavement is really important. It's really important to go fast on the paved sections, because those are the fast sections. And so somewhere around 2, it might be 1.9, 1.8, somewhere around here is pretty close to optimal for pavement, which I haven't quite done testing. I'll do some more testing. Maybe in the next car I test for Spain, I think. I'll have more accurate camber angles. But until then, these are what they're at. And that is it. Till the next one.